This is Mute Your Lines, and I'm your host, Lauren McCart from the Early Careers team. Hello, interns. This is a super, super special episode, and I'm really, really excited to introduce my guest, my special guest with us here today. This is National Intern Day. So I have with us Linde Grindle. She is our Chief Talent Officer. Really excited to talk to her just a little bit about the internship, what talent means to her, and ask her some questions about her career path. So first and foremost, Linde, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
As we've done with our other guest hosts, we're going to start with a lightning round. So we're going to get to know a little bit about Linde outside the office. So are you ready for some of those questions?
I'm ready.
Awesome. First question, favorite food, and it can also be a type of food.
Yeah, I have to say pizza without a doubt. I mean, I know it seems like something that everyone probably says, but, you know, isn't just the best go-to? It's like everything you need on a flat piece of bread.
I couldn't agree more. So are you a toppings person?
I like really generic plain pizza, I have to say. And, you know, there is the one question, pineapple or not, and I do like pineapple on my pizza.
That's controversial, too. That's some big pizza fan as well. Next question for you. Favorite movie or TV show?
I think I have a lot of favorite movies, but I would say favorite TV show, and it's just one that I could sit down and watch anytime, is Friends. I think I've watched each episode at least 20 times. It's on every single night when I go to bed, so I go to bed watching Friends, and I don't have to really pay attention to it. It makes me laugh out loud, which is always a good way to end the day. And it's just that when you can't find anything else on, it's just the perfect thing. And I'm kind of from the core Friends generation, right? I remember gathering with my my college roommates and watching the finale. So, you know, it's kind of a flash from the past.
Yes. All right. This question I really like, because I think in times of, you know, the pandemic, we've had to find places and spaces to be and just to keep ourselves moving forward. So what do you consider your happy place or a place that you love to be the most?
Yeah, this is a great question because we have a lake home in northern Minnesota, and it was super critical during the quarantine. And I think for the first maybe month, we didn't go up to the cabin because it was still kind of winter. And also we just reached the point where we just need different walls around us and a different view. And it was so nice to have a place to go. And, you know, the cabin for me is a place where I feel totally free to not do anything. My family members each have, in particular my husband and my son, have their fishing and their things that they like to keep busy with up there. I'm like, don't ask me for any responsibility. I can just stare at the lake, and, you know, I do kind of mindless activities like puzzles and stuff like that. So it's a total decompression time.
And it's funny you say that too, and I've been thinking about it a lot because I've been reading so much about, even though we're virtual or working remotely, it doesn't necessarily mean our days are shorter or easier or different. No. If anything, it's working more hours because you're living and working in that same place, and not, you know, you have to actually find a way to move yourself from, you know, living to professional life to maybe back to personal, and having that separation and break is super important.
Yeah, it is, and I don't think we all kind of got it at the beginning of the quarantine, just exactly how we. And I remember the first time we even went up to the cabin, I felt like I was breaking a rule. I'm like, well, I'm just going to my other home. So, but you know, it felt good just to be able to move around, and you know, everybody needs that.
Yeah, that's great. So this is last question of our get to know you. Favorite quote, and this can be from a movie, book, or maybe something that your, you know, a mentor or idol has said to you.
Yeah, my favorite quote is, "Don't sweat the small stuff." So my mom had bought me, there's a little pocket-sized book when I was in high school, because I think as a child I probably sweated all the small stuff. I was not good at change. And so my mom bought me this book. Like I said, it's this little pocket book called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, and I think it has the second tagline that says, and it's all small stuff. But it's been an essential kind of, I would say, model throughout my career, especially when we work in a really complex organization. You have to be able to compartmentalize what are just the small stuff and, put them aside and really put your energy towards the big stuff. And, you have to learn how to have a different perspective and lens and almost kind of measuring stick on what is small and what is big. And I think it's a survival technique and it's necessary. But one quote that I've actually shared with a lot of people who I see kind of struggling with some of the dynamics at times, I think you just have to kind of let it roll off and say, don't sweat the small stuff.
I love that. That's my dad used to tell me, hey, is this going to matter in 5 years? So if it was something super small, something at a softball game, or he would say that. No, I love that. And this is all going to lead into, what we're really talking about today. And I've had the privilege to be, mentored by you over the last year, and we've talked a lot about the importance of mentorship, not just professionally, but personally. You're always offering, let's talk about stuff, what else is going on, right? And so can you talk to me about maybe one of your first mentors?
Yeah, I actually think my first mentor, funny enough, was my dad. From a professional perspective, he and I are really the only two that work in corporate America. So he has been just an unbelievable resource for me. He went through this experience obviously many years ago. Sometimes I kind of think, well, that's kind of an out-of-date point of view, but it's surprisingly how relevant, and it's interesting when I'll share a story that's happening. He always has a matching story. So, my dad, obviously, he's an easy one to ask for help with. You can be vulnerable. And I would say, other mentor relationships, have been maybe a little bit more informal, but I would say he's been the one constant.
That's awesome. I love that. I love it. And I think, too, it's interesting being mentored by somebody who also knows you, like, very personally, right? So I'm sure.
Yes, it's good and it's bad.
I was going to say they know the good, the bad, and the ugly when it comes to things that happen, I'm sure. Yeah. So you have your dad as one of your first mentors. What about now?
I have what I would consider to be a lot of mentors, and some of them are my colleagues, some of them are even more junior to me, kind of in a reverse mentoring perspective where, I want to make sure that I'm looking at a situation in the right way. And, some of them are situational. I have just a very dynamic network of people who I have an extreme, confidence in, and who I trust, and, they trust me, and, we all have a connection for different reasons. And so situationally, you reach out to someone who has an understanding of, what's happening, and you talk it through. Sometimes you have the ones that, you really need, who do have also that tough love, and, and some of them are just good listeners.
What do you think about that type of relationship? What makes a good or strong kind of mentor-mentee relationship?
Yeah, I think they, are really interesting when they're a two-way street, when you both play both roles for each other. That's where the extreme trust comes in. I think mentorship, in my career, I've been a part of launching a lot of mentor programs. And if I'm really honest, a lot of them don't work because they're typically very designed to kind of force a relationship. And sometimes in that you have magical connections that are meant to be that, kind of happen as a result of that force. And sometimes because it was forced, it just doesn't work. There is no connection there. I would tell everybody, if you're looking for a mentor, you'll know, you can feel it, if it's the right connection, if that person has something to offer you, and they know when to listen, they know when to provide the perspective. They don't judge if you have a moment of, extreme weakness and have to show a side maybe that you wouldn't show in a professional environment, just in terms of an emotional reaction to something. All of those things are important, but most certainly, I think what's most important is there's actually the mutual connection there.
Yeah, it's funny that you say the importance of the natural relationship too, because we talk about all of the time, and even working with our interns who are listening, the importance of mentorship. Well, does this person have a mentor, or I don't have a mentor? And it's hard to kind of bridge that gap between, yes, I understand, and then here's that next step of, here, let us help you find a mentor, let us help bridge that gap of communication without it feeling forced. So what advice do you have on finding a mentor? How can you start that conversation?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, I think what you just said made me think about, I think you have to open your mind to what a mentor is and what they look like. They're not always super senior to you. As I stated before, sometimes they can be equal to you or even, underneath you, because really what it's about is that you are connecting with a person who has a different perspective or set of experiences for you to learn from. When I've seen people struggle with finding a mentor, I think it's because they have kind of a narrow definition.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, having a collection of mentors or network that you kind of foster around you. And my first coaching job that I took out of college, I remember the head coach, and she hired me as an assistant. We were complete opposite people. And she just said, why would I hire somebody that's me? I need somebody that has all the skills I don't. And it ends up working really well where, our players get two perspectives, but we both have the same goal. Awesome. One, I'll say last question here, thinking about mentorship, I'm going to ask you to be your own mentor. And so thinking through, we've talked to alumni, I've talked to a couple of our leaders. We've had Norman and Erin join us, and we asked them this question as well. What would you tell your 19, 20-year-old Linde self that you know now?
Yeah. I love this question. I would tell myself to trust my instincts and know, in particular, use those instincts to know when I had something to add to a discussion or an idea. Speak up, and then be kind of artful about when to speak up. I think if I look back at my earlier career, I had those instincts and remember sitting in meetings and being like, oh, I think I know the answer, or I have an idea. And it's a feeling, you just know, like maybe you're seeing a connection that other people in the room aren't seeing. But I didn't trust it enough, and I didn't speak up. And so I think I lost out on a lot of opportunities to contribute early. And, I would say in those situations, I kind of usually found a way to maybe kind of wrap back later and maybe share with someone on the side and then kind of use them to, navigate my ideas, which is fine too. But I wish I had allowed myself to have a voice earlier in my career. And I had one leader in particular, much later in my career, who I felt kind of opened that up. And Lauren, I think I've shared with you before, I wish I had had that opportunity earlier in my career, either to be given permission by that person to be trusted, to give me confidence in that I actually had something pretty significant to contribute.
I think that's really important, and it's along the same line of the advice that we've been giving all of our interns here since we started, and really big, bold on the slides of the kickoff that we gave just said, own it. And that's, in every sense, own the questions you ask, own your experience, own your development. What are you going to say, not say? How are you going to engage with your peers? So I love that advice. And now with National Intern Day, and we have just a little bit over a week left of the internship, any final words, insights that you'd like to share with our interns for National Intern Day?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, just a tremendous amount of gratitude and appreciation that they picked Optum and United Health Group or United Healthcare to have this experience. It means the world to us. We think that we have something very special to offer in this experience, but most importantly, love that we were seen as a place to go to have this experience by all of you interns. So thank you for that. Thank you also for just, you know, what I assume has been a summer full of new experiences as we all are testing something that we've never done before. It shows an incredible amount of agility and adaptability. I want you all to think about yourself in 20 years from now and how you will be telling the story about your internship. And you will be talking about how it taught you to be agile, how it taught you to be adaptable. Don't disregard those lessons. They're more important than anything you can really know about, you know, a particular topic. Those things, those behaviors are super important. So that's what I would just say. And, you know, have fun, celebrate, be proud, and, you know, just recognize your community and, you know, just have a really great intern day. Yeah.
Awesome. On that feeling of gratitude, I'm going to wrap up here. Linde, thank you so much for all the interns out there. I've had the absolute privilege of working with and being mentored by Linde over the last year, about a year and a half now. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for continuing to support and mentor myself and others early in their career too.
I will always be here.
And to all of our interns, happy National Intern Day. So be on the lookout for more information from the Early Careers team. And as always,